Hello, what's going on? Brad Stinson here with a great friend of mine, Mr. Andrew Paul, the man, the myth, the legend. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Hang out with you.
What?
I'm glad to be doing this hangout with you.
Well, thank you, man. It's an honor. You have played a crucial role in my career, me being where I'm at now, and considering what I'm about to announce, I think it's no better person to be on this podcast with than you. How we met each other. I mean, we met each other at an event, and you're like, "Hey, when you pass your licensing exam, give me a call, man. Give me a call. Just give me a call." Right? And
Glad to help out, man. That's what it's all about.
that went a long way with me because I was a brand new loan officer. I knew what I wanted to do. I just didn't know if it was possible, and you've blazed the trails for me.
You've done a great job, man. You've come so far in a very short amount of time. I'll tell you what you've done.
It's easy to do when you guys have already made the mistakes. I learned from you guys, but you put in the work, right? You have to put in the work, and it's hard to believe that it was only a year ago, right? That's just insane. But that first call, chapter 4 laid the foundation. That's why the chapter 4 of the VA Lender Handbook will forever be known as the Andrew Paul chapter.
Well, I appreciate that. Maybe some people will take issue with it, but I'll say, what is chapter 4, Brad?
It is credit underwriting in the VA Lender Handbook. As loan officers, credit underwriting, we need to know that. If you want to be a master of your craft, you have to know that stuff, right? Not cite the page and verse and paragraph because they're always changing, but at least have an idea, right?
Well, it's funny. VA doesn't change their guidelines very often, but they're in the process of changing them for about the first time in about 10 years. We've all been anxiously awaiting VA's release of the new Chapter 4, 26-7, since like April. We got a sneak peek of that at the Lenders Conference.
Yeah, we did. It was pretty cool being, I think we're one of maybe 30 lenders, I think, at the conference. So that's pretty cool to see, right? But we are part of a group that we share the same passion. We think a lot alike, and we push each other. We motivate each other. I know every time you do something, I'm like, oh, yep, I got it. All right, I'm right behind you, bud. Because that's just the way we roll, right? We all think a lot alike, and we all have the same goal in mind, and that is to serve the veteran, put the veterans first, right? And on a personal level, and I didn't really realize this until I started Team Brad Stinson podcast, which I'm announcing right now. It is now live. The effect that it had on me purchasing a home made me feel like I was welcome back home, right? And I know it sounds really cheesy, and I got to find a better way. Maybe you can help me because you're very good at that. But
owning a home gives you a real sense of security and a sense of ownership, right? And when you're renting, of course, you take care of the place, you do the right thing, but it's different when it's your place.
Yeah.
You start thinking about what improvements you're going to make, and it's a place that you own, it's yours. And that gives you a sense of stability, gives you a sense of purpose, I think. And especially I don't know if this happened to you, but it definitely happened to me through my military transition. When you have that taken away from you, because, I went through just really a tough time financially, lost a home to foreclosure or short sold others, and that lack of stability, of just not knowing like where you were going to be or what you could count on as a long-term kind of permanence. Whereas when you own a home and you can actually afford the payments, it's like, nobody can take this away from me. You make payments, right?
Correct.
That's what happened to me. I think I couldn't make payments anymore, so you take the house away. But when I got back on my feet financially, I think kind of what you're getting at. When I bought my house again, using my VA home loan benefit, it was like closing a really bad chapter from my past.
Yep.
And reopening another one that was on this real stable plane, place where I could raise my kids and raise my family. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, owning your own place is a big deal.
Correct. And, kind of to touch on that, the podcast is also sharing those transition stories because we've been through a transition. We know, I mean, it kicks you in the nuts. You're not expecting it. And there's no way that you can prepare for it because everybody deals with it some way.
I think you can prepare. And that's what you're going to get on the podcast, right? We're going to find ways to help our fellow vets prepare. Now, there are some things I think you're saying you can't prepare for. Like, you can't ahead of time feel what it's going to feel like when you're no longer with your brother.
Correct.
Like, you can't. Like, you've got kids, I've got kids, and, somebody who doesn't have kids will say to me, like, they'll try to say something or they'll say something completely wrong about kids. I'm like, you just don't even know. Like, until you have kids yourself. Sorry, no offense. I mean, you can take care of kids, you can nanny, you can be a teacher until you have your own flesh and blood kids. Like, you don't know. And so when you transition, like, and you're going to do this on your podcast, this type of stuff that I do, and we talk about together how we help our fellow veterans, how you can prepare for a stable, smooth transition is super important. But you don't know what that's going to feel like.
No.
All of a sudden, you go from being with your bros to sitting at a desk doing 30-year fixed mortgage.
And you and I both, like, you left Iraq early. You left your boys behind, right?
Right.
I did the same thing. So when
Thanks a lot for that. Leaving the boys behind, by the way.
What?
And thanks a lot for that.
Well, I didn't mean it in a bad way. You.
No, but dude,
right. But you did it. You had your son was on the way. So.
I was born.
Well, he ended up being born on the way. I know, I get it. But so I was not prepared for the reality that hit me. When I left, I was 22. I got back when I was 26, and I went to go kick it with the homies, right, at the local hangout, and they weren't there.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Then all of a sudden, it was like, oh my God, that was when we were in college. They're done with college now, and they've moved on. They're establishing themselves. They're in a career. They're buying homes, having kids, getting married. And I'm moving back in with my freaking parents. Like, I have no job. I'm no further along than 18, and you don't know what you don't know, and it just sneaks up on you. But that's what this podcast is about. Share these stories, right? Because I know when I was going through it, I felt like I was the only one. And that's bad. That's a bad feeling. And I don't want that feeling for anybody else.
Well, it's hard to think when you're by yourself, or at least when you feel like you're by yourself. And I think that's the point. I think that, the technology these days with Facebook and podcasts and things like that allow us to connect over distances where we can have people realize that they're not alone through that process. It's really easy. It's almost natural, even I think, for veterans that leave active duty. They're no longer with their team, their platoon, their brigade, their company, whatever. And, they're back home. They moved back in with mom and dad, which doesn't feel real good. For me, struggling to provide for my family, and then you think you're going, and your team's off doing their thing. The military continues on.
Yep.
The Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps marches on, but they're without you. And then all of a sudden, you're just sort of by yourself, and it's real easy. Again, all too almost natural to isolate, and then you can start to feel like the things that you're going through, or the things that you're feeling, that it's just you. And I think through sharing other veterans' stories of transition, challenges, and what they've done to overcome those things helps other veterans see that they're not the only ones who go through these things. They're not the only ones who have those thoughts or have those feelings, that they can get through it too. And there's light at the end of the tunnel, and there's a great blend of opportunity after the military. But I think...
And there's people here for you.
Yeah.
There's people here for you.
Yeah, there's tons of resources, right? So that's stuff you're going to talk about on the podcast is connecting veterans to the resources that they need. Veteran service organizations, benefits, and things like that. I mean, benefits that veterans have earned, they just don't even know are available.
Yeah, and that's what I'm finding out. Well, that's what I've found out so far as being a VA loan specialist and veteran advocate is, you can never assume that us veterans know our benefits, because we do not. We're taught our benefits, or we're told our benefits, that during a time when we don't even want to listen, because it's during TAMP, so you're transitioning out, right? So it's impossible. I know.
Like paying attention anymore.
Yeah. I'm like, 13 days in a wake up, guys. How many, what do you got? And it's that bothers me now. I look back at it now, and and how many post-deployment surveys were falsified so that you could go on leave, right? Because if you,
it's surveys like how you feel about certain things.
Yeah.
In your deployment. Here's the thing, though, and this is a real catch-22. We're told, in the military that, if you show these sort of forms, if you admit to certain things, A, it can be perceived as weakness.
Yep.
B, it could mean that you're not deployable. C, it can mean you're no longer eligible to be in. And so most guys just sort of keep their mouth shut.
Yep.
They
Absolutely.
keep dealing with these things and they stuff it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They hide their injuries, both physical and mental and emotional. They hide them because they don't want to be labeled. They don't want to be seen as unfit for duty. They don't want to see as having not been able to accomplish the task or the mission that was assigned to them. And so guys sort of they keep their mouth shut, right? They hide their injuries mentally, physically, and emotionally.
And how many times can you be told, drink water and change your socks, you'll be okay? Right? Before you just stop doing it.
Like you just keep on charging on, and then all of a sudden you're on the outside, and you've hidden and you've suppressed all these things. And I'm not saying everybody goes through that type of thing, but it's very common. And then all of a sudden on your outside, and then it's like, well, you don't have any history of this, and it's like the environment doesn't support really being able to say that you might need help. And also sometimes I know in my case, I wasn't feeling like I needed help. I really didn't.
Yeah.
It was just we were just going so fast. I never had a moment to stop and think about it, really. On to the next stop, on to the next mission, on to the next school I was going to, the next team, whatever, So.
And then when you start to slow down is when you're at home. The transition. Yeah, and that's where you get a lot of the adrenaline junkies. Those, but that's a whole different thing. But yeah, that's what the podcast is about: identifying, bringing people on, uniting us, letting other veterans know that we are still a community. Because face it, when we're on active duty, Navy, Marine Corps, Army, Air Force, collectively, we are a mighty, mighty force. Somebody to be reckoned with, right?
Right.
But when we say, nope, I've had my fair share, I'm going to go back home, right? Every man for himself. It just, all that goes out the window, right?
You don't have a team around you.
Yeah, and you leaving the hardest battle, the transition battle, to fight on your own. You probably couldn't even go to the bathroom anytime active duty without a battle buddy, right? So why are we letting this?
You guys in the Marine Corps, I don't know what y'all do in there.
Oh yeah, you guys probably carried your toilets, didn't you? I don't even know what we called them. We didn't call them battle buddies, but everybody refers to them as battle buddies, so I just use that term.
Giving you a hard time.
I know. In your Navy SEAL type way, right?
It's a friendly inter-service rivalry.
Yeah. That's the best part about working with veterans, man. The minute that they find out I'm a veteran and not just a lender,
right.
Oh yeah, you Marines and
right. Why is it that you look at like a VFW or whatever? You don't expect someone on the civilian side to be able to understand you. Why is it you can walk in like a VFW? You can sit down, have a beer next to a veteran, say a couple of words, and you just know, or you trust that the other guy just gets you.
Yeah.
So like for you and me in the lending world, helping veterans, it's like we're just out there doing loans for people, and there's just a natural trust there. I know for me, I get a tremendous amount of. It's a huge reward for me to be able to help a fellow veteran. If it wasn't for my purpose around helping veterans, lending would be quite quite challenging. I mean,
It's pretty. And your story is going to be saved for a guest spot on my podcast whenever you come out to Michigan, because I love your transition story, and I think it's very powerful, and people need to hear it. So, yeah, it's happening, and I will bring like a bunch of rope to tie you up if you try to evade. I know I can't catch you. If I catch you, I just have to lay on you, and you're okay. If you knew Andrew and myself, he's smaller, I'm taller.
That's the size of the dog. That's the size.
I know, and and you got a little BJJ training in you. I know that. Use my own strength against me,
Yeah. So when does the podcast launch?
My podcast is live right now, and I'll post it. I'll post the channel in the comments below. Subscribe. I'll be dropping a podcast once a week. I had just recently, I met with two Marines who founded a nonprofit here in West Michigan that brings awareness. It's bringing awareness to veteran suicide, which is a huge problem. And I've gone all in. Right, I think it's a great cause, and there's a 13.5-mile walk, so a walk to raise awareness, and my mission is to get a big enough horde of people that we stop traffic. Right? I mean, I would like to see that where we had so many people walking that traffic had to stop for us.
Right.
That would make a statement.
When is this walk? And are you going to be doing it like a ruck march, like with?
You can do whatever you want to do. I think I'm just going to go cami bottoms and probably military mortgage boot camp shirt, because Jay McMakin is also walking with me, and he'll probably make me do that. So,
when is that?
September 22, 13.5-mile walk to bring awareness to veteran suicide. I can also post the registration for this in here, in the comments.
What's the significance behind the 13.5-mile walk? Is somehow related to?
It's 22 kilometers.
There you go.
Because this is a small one, apparently. Yeah, apparently they do 92. That's why 92 for 22, hence the name. I just found that out on the podcast. So
there you go. Yeah, so 22K. So there's a nonprofit called 22 Kill. Obviously, there's
Yep.
I don't know. Personally, I don't know exactly where this statistic comes from, but it's a statistic that's out there that it's like on average like 22 veterans commit suicide every day.
Correct.
I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah, I don't either.
Is that one veteran committing suicide is one too many.
Yeah.
And I think the public's perception around this stuff is really skewed too. I don't know. For me, and I know for a lot of guys too, it's not. I'm not sitting around thinking about my experience in combat.
Mm-hmm.
My hard times in transition were financial.
Yeah.
Trying to raise my kids, end up losing houses, and struggling to. I struggled emotionally from the loss of friends of mine from my last deployment. But it wasn't like combat per se that was traumatizing. But it was the loss of my friends in that kind of combat situation. But,
and your friend is a hero, by the way. R.I.P. Man.
Incredible heroes. I mean, it's amazing what some of our service members have done overseas, man.
And you're just giving a little teaser for the podcast. Thank you for helping double my ratings from 4 to 5, or whatever. That's the whole thing with this podcast. Just if we can help just one of them, we did our job, right? Because everybody's different. Everybody has different ways that they process things and how they handle stuff. And the more people we get on, the more we share, the more likely we're going to affect somebody in a positive way. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely. Good. Well, I love it, man. I'm looking forward to hearing your podcasts, and looking forward to joining you on one too and get out to Michigan. So.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate everything you've done for me and all the late night phone calls. Well, they're not late night for you. You're on the West Coast, but just kind of talking me through things because this business doesn't make sense. And it's hard.
But that's that's why we have a job, right? We have a job because it's complicated. I know people out there think that it's like push button, get mortgage. It's more complicated than that.
It's not rocket science.
We problem solve all day long.
Yeah.
We're constantly figuring out.
And we're always updating, making sure we're up to date on the latest changes and, advocating for our brothers, man. I mean, there's so many, the untruths about the VA home loan are just, that blow me away on a daily basis. And we've gotten pretty passionate about it, I think. And, our message is there. We just need more of us, right? We need a bigger platform. We're doing things, right? Making a difference.
Every day, buddy. Every day.
It's guys like you that showed us we could do it. So thank you.
Well, it's never a place that you reach. It's never a destination that you achieve. It's constant, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a constant evolving problem. We always have to keep looking at what are we doing? Are we doing enough? Where's the problem now? Has it moved? Has it evolved? Has it changed? We need to address and change our approach because the problem has changed, right? And that's happening all the time.
Correct.
Sometimes daily, sometimes over time. You can never settle. You can never settle into a routine and just assume that the way you've always done business is how you'll always do business, right?
You can't. It's just ever evolving. I mean, take the mortgage industry from 10 years ago to now. I mean, it's totally, and it's not even because of the crash and everything. It's because of the way you reach people now, right? And that's a whole other, topic in itself. That's why the American Legions and VFWs, right? They're not online. They need memberships. Yeah. And to get new members, us current veterans, we are all online.
Yep. That's right.
You could cure cancer, but if you don't tell anybody, what good are you,
That's right.
So I know you got to go. I appreciate you and your support, and get after it, son.
Get after it.